So welcome to KOH Young here at Semicon West. I'm delighted to be joined by Joel Scutchfield. Nice to see you again, Joel.
Always good to be with you, Trevor.
I know.
Yeah, here we are again.
We're so used to getting together at these SMT shows, but this is obviously a very different end of the business. And KOH Young, you've been touching on the edges of it for quite a while, but you're trying to move a little bit further into this semiconductor packaging.
I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, we're kind of morphing or migrating, I guess, into this world. We're obviously very well known in our traditional surface mount technology world as being the global leader in inspection technology, and a natural progression from that is into the system and package world, which I guess you could consider kind of the front end of the semicon, right? With flip chip BGA and the likes.
And you've been doing that with the Meister, haven't you?
Well, we've been doing that with the Meister tools and the predecessors to the Meister tools for years, and we have a very substantial install base in that particular sector. Upwards of close to 500 systems, with kind of a who's who of players in that world, some of which you'd be very familiar with.
So you're not really a newcomer in this space.
We're not a newcomer, is right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think that's important to note. And it certainly gives us a foothold, a certain degree of credibility and trust. I think that's the most important piece to all of this, that those particular customers, partners trust our technology, same core technology we've been using from day one, the Moray interferometry, and now we migrate that forward into what we are planning to, I guess, evolve into a semicon ecosystem similar to our SMT ecosystem, and they're all really kind of one and the same at the end of the day, right? Surface mount to system and package, hybrid, 2D, 3D, and then into the wafer level, and then beyond that into the post-dice sector, where inspection's needed all along the way, and we can apply that same Moray approach, Moray technology to all of those applications very successfully.
Well, that's right. I mean, using your Moray and using some of your anti-reflective technology, you've been able to handle a lot of these shiny devices and chips and things like that you get at this end of the business.
There are definite different challenges, right? Yes, when you start moving into that space, and that starts in the system and package arena, right? With shiny, reflective. When we're doing things like positional and coplanarity, looking for micro cracks and chips, you have to be able to handle the reflectivity very well to be able to do that accurately, and of course that's what we're being asked to do, and that's what we have been able to accomplish with the Meister series. And again, now we take that forward into the Zenstar, which we've talked about previously in previous conversations, but now we're to the point where we have this system installed at a couple of systems actually installed at a very prominent global supplier of electronics in Korea. So, I'll leave to the imagination who that might be.
Who that might be, well, I mean, obviously, just to clarify, of course, your Zenstar is your wafer handling, wafer inspection system.
Correct.
So that uses that inspects wafers, and it has a robotic foot system that works alongside it to serve the wafers into the inspection area.
That's exactly right, Trevor. So basically, the Zenstar comes in post-fab. The way I like to explain this is, to those people that are familiar with the surface mount world that we know so well, the completed wafer with lithography finished is basically the equivalent of a FR4 circuit board before we put it into the etching machine for serialization at the front of the SMT line. So what happens from there is whatever the imagination can come up with, right? In the semicon world, it's basically the application of balls or bumps for attaching some type of a die or other mechanism for where the stack up begins and where the whole advanced packaging process starts. So basically that's exactly right. we have the ability with the Zenstar to bring in the FOUP, internal to the machine, robotically unload the wafer, place it into the system, do those again, metrology-based, measurement-based, three-dimensional inspections of the balls and bumps,
right,
with all the profilometry, et cetera, that we're seeing with the same surface mount applications we've been working with for years. Then removing that back into a FOUP, exiting the machine, and onto the next process. So, yeah, it's again using the same core technology. Magnification is a little bit higher, right? We're able to utilize the 25 megapixel, 3.5 micron technology, which now gives us the ability to inspect features, units, whether it be a ball or a bump, in the 35 to 40 micron range.
Okay.
And do that very reliably, very accurately, very repeatedly. So, we're seeing excellent results. We're taking the same approach that we have on the SMT side, where we're going to tie all this together with the K-Smart software that you're very familiar with. And then from there, the next step will be a post-dice application, where now we're inspecting in jetting trays, et cetera, for applications and additional components that might be added, again, post-dice with the 3D stack up. So kind of a soup to nuts approach is how I like to
No, it's interesting.
refer to it.
And the technology here is changing all the time. I mean, it's, we're not only dealing with miniaturization, but I mean, we're talking about different substrates that they're starting to look at. And they're even talking about going back to panel packaging.
Correct.
I don't know if you've heard about that.
We have. There's been some conversations about that this week, for sure.
And of course that plays into the form factors that you've been used to dealing with.
Correct.
I mean, it's just like dealing with a board, essentially.
So that touches a lot of areas, right? Because again, the substrates are also morphing or migrating from standard silicon to glass and other types of media. So we have to be ready for that. The traditional 300 millimeter wafer is still very prominent, obviously, but then there's 600 millimeter. There's also panelized applications being utilized. So as we go forward, obviously, we've built this company on utilizing the voice of the customer and what the market, giving the market what the market needs. So we'll take the same approach, and we have our eyes and ears open already, and are already looking at how do we position ourselves with the design of the systems we're creating, Zenstar in particular at this point, and the post-dice system, to be able to handle all of that, to be able to accommodate anything that would potentially be thrown at us from that perspective.
So let's looking at the market at the moment for semiconductor packaging. I mean, it's it seems like we're on the edge of a precipice that's about to grow, because it's been a bit soft these last 6 months. But it feels, with the traffic here, and you were at ECTC just a few weeks ago. We were. It feels like it's maybe going to start to move. What's your impression of it?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. It's been a little bit of a slower ramp up than maybe some thought. Obviously, you can't flip the switch and have this happen overnight. No. There's certainly a lot of buildings being constructed across the country for preparing for this reshoring of this technology, right? But I think the piece that we have to understand clearly to be able to make it happen is the fact that the supply chain has to be here as well, right? So you mentioned the various substrates involved. We have no substrate manufacturing here, right? So that's the other side. We have to, to be able to package here. Have to be able to, access all of the pieces to that.
It's true. I mean, the customer's not buying chips; he's buying a finished product.
That's right.
And he needs all the parts that go into making that product.
Yeah. So if we're gonna nearshore, we're gonna reshore. We really have to do all of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's creating another element in the cycle, in the delay, if you will. It's certainly happening. The traffic here has been very good, as I expected. ECTC was very good as well. That particular conference is a little bit more packaging focused. So the conversations, I think it's fair to say we're a little bit more focused on specifically what it is that we're doing, or the piece that we're trying to address.
Okay.
The show's a little bit more broad, right? So, but again, it's essential to be here. It's essential to to use these kind of opportunities to build our brand. We'll do the same with the ECTCs and some of the semi events that are upcoming, et cetera, et cetera. And again, the kind of coming back to your original point, we're not completely new to this space, but we're certainly new to the wafer handling space, right? And that's the space we want to continue to grow in as we go forward. So using these kinds of opportunities to build our brand is essential.
Well, Zenstar certainly a good start on that. So congratulations on
so.
that, Joel.
Thank you.
And thank you for giving us an update today.
My pleasure, Trevor. Always appreciate the opportunity to sit and talk.